Hi guys, so it's Kevin here, Dolpherman, in case that's how you know me. I'm doing a tiny little tutorial today on how I personally can tweak a doll's look or enhance their look a little bit to maybe make the eyes pop a little more or to make the lip color a little more cohesive with the way the doll looks. We're going to try two of those. I've got one Barbie and one Fashion Royalty. We're going to try that on. And then I have one that I'm going to try and do a very quick complete repaint on for you along with the rest of this. I was going to do more today, but due to the flippin' heat here in South Dakota right now has really been irritating me, and I have a heat rash on my chest and stuff, so it's just not conducive for me to be doing a lot today. But I wanted to do this little bit of a tutorial for you guys anyway, so how about we start? And let's start with the Barbie doll. Now this one I've had for quite a while, and as you can see, her face is rather plain. So we're gonna go and tweak her eyes a little bit and maybe make the mouth stand out and probably pierce her ears, which brings me to another subject I'm going to do. I have a boatload of doll earrings that I made a while back that if any of you all are interested in them, I will be selling them very, very cheap. Actually, not even selling them. I will, anybody that watches this video on the online convention thing that we're doing here, anybody that wants one, if you pay for shipping, I will give every attendee 2 pairs of earrings. You have to contact me privately to do this, but if you pay for the shipping, I'll send you 2 pairs of earrings for free for nothing, and I'm not even charging for them. Anyway, let's get into this enhancing this particular Barbie doll. And like I said, as you can see, she's rather plain. And one thing that I learned, I'm not the best repaint artist or the best enhancer. I just do what I kind of like seeing and done in that. Now what I generally do as far as like shadows, cheek color, and stuff, I use the this particular kind of thing. They're soft pastels. Do not use an oil brand of these pastels. Do not. Always use the chalk kind of pastels, because if you use the other kind, all it does is it smears and it just doesn't give you a decent result. But anyway, let's do something here with this girl. And as you can see, we have quite a variety of color here to work with. And what I'm going to do first, we're going to tweak her eyeshadow just ever so slightly. And let me see which of my brushes I've got here that can do this. Now, a lot of my brushes I bought at like Hobby Lobby and that, and most of my work I do is with a brush of this type. And if you can see I don't know if you can see the point on it. You can see it's very, very small. It's an 18-aught brush. That's what I do most of the painting tweaking with, is those. Now, as far as like shadows and stuff on the eyes, I've done this, gotten a there we go. I'll get this positioning for a camera right here pretty quick. A small brush. This is a number 4 and I don't know, remember what thing it is, but it's a small flat brush. And what I've done is with this, when you get this, you take a tiny pair of scissors, and I clip this off down closer to the nubs, as you can see, and at an angle. Now the angle is kind of important because it gives you a little more control over where you put the shadow. So I'm thinking with this particular girl, let's do maybe, since she's got green hair, let's first give her a little green shadow, and you just really don't need to do much. And what I generally do when I get a little bit on the brush, I go like this and tweak the brush just a little bit to give it
it stops detecting it, so I know it's not like any of my camera equipment or anything. Check this out. Stop. And when I put the box closer, there it is again.
Now if you look closely, you can see this eye has had just a little bit of green shadow put to it. Not much, because these girls are really fairly fair-skinned. We don't want to overdo on the shadow. Let's do a little bit of this green on the other eye here. And you basically want to do this when you're working with the chalk pastels, and put it on like you would for a human, as far as, you know, placement of the shadow, darker out on the outer edge, you know, lighter on the inner corner, etc. Maybe a little lighter up underneath the eyebrow. Now I've put green on both of those. You kind of see it's deepened that eye color, and it's already starting to make the eyes kind of pop out just a little bit more than what they did. Now I want to take the black chalk, and we're going to do a little bit, just a tiny bit, at the very outer corner of each eye.
Why'd you stop beeping? As I broke the seal, the EMF detector stopped beeping, and at that moment, I thought, what is going on?
Now see there again, just that little tiny bit of darker black at the outer corner of the eye has already made those eyes pop out even more. And since she's got kind of the punk looking hairdo, we're going to give her a little bit more punk looking, like, lip color, a darker lip color, to kind of maybe go with the overall look a little bit more. Now, since this is about all the shadow that we're going to put on the doll, let's go to do a little bit of cheek color. Now what I generally do for cheek color on any of Dow's, expensive, not expensive, etc., is I take a good plain old Q-tip, and you take and go with your, what you're going to use for shadow, or for a cheek color, which is this kind of peachy color here. Just rub it back and forth a couple of 3 times. It's about all you need. And that's about the kind of color, amount of color you're going to want on the Q-tip when you go to do this. And now, when you do the cheeks on these dolls, go ahead and kind of look for where the natural cheek placement would be on them, and go right along each one of those cheekbone lines on these dolls, and very gently kind of dab and not really brush, but dab and swipe with the Q-tip, just to give her cheeks a little color. Now you can see here that we've given her cheeks a little color on each side, just to, looks like I got one just a little bit more than the other one here. And that's why I keep the other end of the Q-tip just clean, and then take that and you can rub over and kind of rub off any of, if you've gotten it too much or whatever. Now, there's our chalk placement on the girl. You can see not heavy, not a lot, but it's made the cheeks stand out just a little more, and it's made the eyes already pop out just a little bit more than what they were. Now let's go to let's do the paint enhancement part, and we'll do the paint enhancement on the eyes first. And basically all I'm going to do on this is just darken the eyeliner on the top lid just a little bit more to go and, like I said again, tweak the thing. And now I use a lot of plain old acrylic paint. You can find them at Walmart. This is what I use, you know, just because for the tiny amount that you use, you don't have to go super expensive with them. Now what I do is, for this, we're only going to need like a couple of drops of the color. And you want to make sure you shake the living bejesus out of the paint to mix it up, because they do tend to separate sometimes. A couple drops of color. That there. Now that's even way more than what we're going to need for that particular doll. It's not necessary to have a whole lot. Let's go and there's a blending gel that I use in there. It gives the paint a little more flow, takes just a little bit more time to dry, but it goes on so much easier if you use this. Now for the amount that we've got of color in there, I've got like 2 drops of color in this, and you're going to want to take 1 drop of the gel blending medium, maybe about 1.5 drops. Not a lot. You don't want a lot in there to use. And then here again we take, and I always tend to use the butt end of my brushes to sit there and mix this medium in with the color, just to mix it up, gives it a little more flow and that, like I said. And what I do as far as cleaning brushes and stuff, I take a big tall glass of lukewarm water, not hot because it ruins your brushes, but you don't want it ice cold either. Take a tall, like 16-ounce glass of water, and put like maybe 2 tiny drops of dish soap in there to use, and that's all you need. You don't want the water super soapy. You just want it so it's got a little bit of sud to it, but not much. This is what I clean my brushes with. Now, since I'm blinder than a bat half the time, we'll see if Kevin can do this with just the 1 pair of glasses on, because generally sometimes I sit there and have to go and do it with 2. Now what I'm doing, you barely want any paint on this brush at all, just very little.
That's when I really started noticing this person.
The way the app works means that Shauna sees what's happening, but can't communicate until Lori finishes recording.
When I very first realized that something was going on is when Shauna said, "Is there someone in the apartment with you?"
And hopefully
She replied back to me
just a
and
few of
said,
these
"No,
simple
there's
tips
nobody here. Why? It
will
alarmed me and concerned me." I'm trying to think.
go and help you out, and maybe just make your girls look a little bit more.
When I first saw him popping in and out, and actually walking behind her, I thought that it was her grandson playing dress up, but at the same time, it was like, no, that
I'm going to
can't
put
be,
just a
because
smidge
it
underneath the eye,
wasn't a
from about where the
solid
pupil
figure.
starts
When I was like,
to
oh my
meet
gosh,
up
what the
with
hell is that?
The only thing
the
I
outer
did was,
corner
as I was scanning to
of the eye.
was,
Okay, now I have the left eye on the doll is pretty well enhanced. If you take a close look at that, you can see with this eye on this side here that she has much more eyeliner on. It does make the eyes pop out just a little bit. Let's go and finish up the other eye real quick. And Kevin always does things half backwards when I do the other eye. Even my art teacher in high school said I was weird and did stuff.
Lori fled the house and spent the night at her daughter's.
The next day, I invited a friend over to do a cleansing with me to get rid of the demon. The boy had already gone. He was just passing through. I have seen nothing since that day.
It might well be something attached to the land that this house was built on. We're talking here some parts of America where there are Native American burial grounds.
Okay, now there you can see that, I don't know why this won't focus right up close here, but you can see we've got a bit of enhancement on both of those. And it's not a lot, it's not necessary, doesn't have to be a lot.
You make it more obvious. Most people will miss this the first time they watch the clip. So that's me.
Just to give it just a little, make the eyes pop a little more. And there we go. Now let's change that lip color, and I keep thinking, for some reason I want to give this girl, since she's got the lime green hair, I want to give her a dark green color for her lips. I know it sounds strange and weird, but then again, if you know anybody that knows me knows I'm strange and weird anyway. Let's see if I have any green in here. Hopefully I do. Not sure. I haven't used my paints in quite a while, so yes, I do have a green here. And what I'm going to do, just put it in the little well right next to the black that you've already used. Now, normally I would take and remove lip color, but since I'm only going to add another lip color, I'm not going to do it this time. But normally I would take full acetone, put it in a tiny little cup of any kind, like, you know, just so you don't need hardly any when you do this to remove paint from a doll, and take a Q-tip and at first soak it, but kind of roll a little bit of the excess acetone out of there. Then you wipe across your paint, going only in one direction, I maintain, because if you go two directions, all you're going to end up doing half the time is smearing the paint, and it takes you much longer to get the paint off the doll. But let's go, and since we're going to kind of skip that particular step on most of these, the three that I'm going to demonstrate to you, let's put a drop of green in there and go back to our gel blending medium. Put a drop and a half in there. We take our small brush, dip the back in here into your black, and then go into mixing your green color. What that does is it deepens the green, gives them just a little bit of thing. And you may have to do that twice, but I only do it like one little dab at a time so that you don't overdo it on mixing the colors.
It smells really bad in here too, by the way. This box stinks. Like as soon as I open the door, it just starts stinking.
Looking at the box, Casey notices scratches in the wax.
I rationally can't explain where they came from or what caused them, but the only thing that I could think was maybe these were caused by...
And you may have to do this mixing just a little bit more than what you think you will sometimes, just to get your desired color that you want. You don't want to overdo it at once, and just keep gradually adding it to it to go and get a desired color. Now I think I have a darker green color, but I think I want to go just a tiny bit darker.
It makes me feel weird even talking about it now, trying to explain explain the feeling that I got going inside the house. It was just such a strange feeling knowing that things are happening in my house that I can't explain.
This chilling change in the atmosphere had also been felt by his dog, Zoe.
I was beginning
And
to
two,
fall
by leaving the original lip color on and not taking the acetone to remove it, I find what this helps with too is for anybody that's kind of beginning painting, it will help you go and put the placement of the lip color and that on the dowel, and then that way you don't have to worry about, you know, completely redoing the shape on them if you're only beginning to do this. Now what I've done is made it a fairly darker green color, and what we want to do is just take, again, barely dipping into the
Introducing Starbucks coffee with essential vitamins. The taste you love, blended with 5 essential vitamins to help support a healthy metabolism and keep your body running at its best. Try the full collection and get more from the cup you love.
That's how home and auto bundle is made. So, what are some key takeaways from this commercial? Did any of you hear the bundle your home and auto part? I like that. The sound that comes out of her mouth.
Yeah, as a mother, I want my kids to see that.
To see, wait, I'm sorry, what?
Don't kids see enough violence as it is?
Don't see violence.
Maybe if we turn the word bundle into a character, like Mr. Bundle.
Pick up with the bundle, dear.
and this is really a lot easier
The Martins here just realized they outgrew their home.
because you can always easily remove the acrylic color pretty easy before you seal it, and I will go over sealing here in just a quick second as soon as I have these lips somewhat symmetrical anyway.
Does it essential feel like a compromise here? Wait, what?
I handle it, it's good, right? No compromise there.
Watch this.
I'm realizing as I get older this year, I'll turn 60 in August this year. God, the time has gone by on me. That so many of the things that we make fun of, like our parents or grandparents growing up, all comes back to bite you in the hiney and goes and
You're always earning. I said I need some slack on all 3.
haunt you when you get older. Okay, now I think I followed the original lip color pretty well on this dowel now. They don't actually in person do not look really green.
No one tells you what to expect when you're expecting a new child. Oh, hey Benny, we need to get you a crate, training tree, potty pad, with 2 week old breakfast. You'll find amazing deals on everything you need for your pet. Start saving at Jewel today. Save 30% on your first order at Jewel.
This head mold has a
Mary Noviker
strange.
80% of your prescription. Unfortunately, many Americans can't get to a doctor right now. The good news is that for many health issues, you can see a doctor online. It's easy. Just go to GoodRx.com, and with a few clicks, you'll be treated by a licensed medical professional, all from the comfort of your own home. Visits are confidential.
Okay, and here we go.
Need a prescription? Your doctor
You got while they are green, they kind of go with the flow on the hair.
GoodRx.com.
And the original eyes on here, I didn't even notice it until just now. The eyes are slightly off, but as anybody knows, with Mattel product, this happens frequently with Playline dolls that their eyes can get wiggy and out of hand. But I think what we're going to do, we're going to call that enhanced, and I'm going to leave this dry for a few minutes while I work on the Fashion Royalty one that I have here, that I'm going to tweak her eyeshadow a bit and change her lip color. Now, this is a particular one we're going to be working with, and as you can see, her eyeshadow, there's just a little something. I want to deepen that just a smidge, and I think we're going to darken the lip color to a dark kind of cherry red color if I can find an appropriate color in here. But this is the dowel we're going to be working with now. And this one's actually going to go a little quicker than what the other one did. Now,
My name is Alistair Collins, and I'm from
for
Tyler Hill, on the outskirts of Palm Springs.
my
there's a very small place, there's only 250 houses.
Shadows and
500
things.
people,
We're going to go back to our pastels. We go back to the pastels, and for this one, she has a darker skin tone. So I think to compensate for that, we're going to just go with the darker, the black color, and use that. And just take the brush you use, and again, do this just to get rid of excess. We go to the outer corner.
And electrician Richard pulled together to form the dream team behind the success of the Tyler's kiln.
And just at that outer corner, take and tweak this shadow just a little bit.
The first thing that happened was Richard, the electrician, telling me about someone walking up the stairs whilst he was in the cupboard below the stairs, and he assumed it'd be Tony coming in the morning. And when he stepped out of his cupboard, Tony came out of the kitchen, meaning that he wasn't upstairs. They both went up to see who it was, and there was no one up there.
Although new owner Alistair thought the
And
local
again,
boys
this
were just pulling
is
his leg,
pretty
the
quick
man was
here
growing more and more
as
calm.
far as
Sometimes I'd come in and I'd actually shake and it just felt cold. Honestly, I didn't tell anyone.
now there
In the
we
beginning
can
because
see
I
that
knew, so I didn't
having
want to
deepened that color again, it makes the eyes pop quite a bit. I like it like that. I tend to like a little heavier eyeshadow than a lot of people do. Sometimes the so-called natural look on a doll just doesn't look right. I mean, and you have to kind of, again, overcompensate just a little bit.
I was at the front of the pub when I heard glasses smashing. When I looked behind the bar, no staff were there.
Now what I want to do is take,
What was going on here when I realised that
again, a smaller brush that I have here. It's kind of a stubby little thing, and we're going to go back down here to the I'm going to go between the peach here and the golden that's right next to it to use, and we're going to highlight just under that arch in the brow bone on the doll, just a little bit. Now these particular kind of chalky pastels, you can go and mix them too together.
And what I found next, I couldn't believe.
The CCTV footage revealed a range of ghostly occurrences.
I found video footage of chairs moving outside. I found a parasol going up. I found the saloon bar doors swinging on their own, and chairs moving around inside.
And the more Alistair looked, the more he saw.
We've got 25 cameras in this property. It's quite allowing
Let's go back to our one brush here that, no, I can't find it. There we go. And with the darker color again, just
It appears that paranormal
touch up
activity plagues the whole property.
our darker color on the outer corner.
The staff was shown
And
The bit footage that freaked me out was the cushion.
this particular, the eye part of the enhancement is done. Now you can see already how just that few enhancements really did make those eyes kind of pop out. And I like the doll's eyes to really kind of stand out on mine in particular, just because the doll's eyes are so damn tiny that they kind of get lost under the lashes and the other things on the dolls. And let's go now, and we're going to take our trusty Q-tip again, and let's tweak her cheek color just a bit. Now for cheek color, what you two can do, if you want to tweak, you can do the cheek color, but you can do like a little bit on the tip of the nose, a little bit on the chin, just to kind of highlight and liven the face up again. Again, just a couple of swipes across that color.
There is such a thing as ghost tourism. Pubs, hotels, properties around the country are benefiting financially from claiming
going to be wanted. And so when you see something like the world's most haunted pub as a claim, you really have to try and think logically about what you're seeing.
Okay, now there we've highlighted her cheek color, not overdone it, but she has a much more defined cheek look to her. If you kind of can see, it kind of gives that angle that we want for those cheeks. Now, deciding on what kind of lip color to give her, like I said, let's do a deeper red color. And I have this, make sure it's still good yet. And we're going to put this red color on. Let's see, so do I want, yeah, I think we'll go with this darker red color. Put a few drops in the well right next to the black. I do have a method for my madness with this and putting them right next to one another because it just makes it so much easier and a lot less sloppy. A couple of drops of our gel blending medium. Then we want to take do it with our brush at the end of the butt end of our brush and take into the black again. Take and get just a little drop of that and go into your red and mix the black and the red together along with the blending medium, and you get a nice deeper cherry red color. And there we are. Deeper red cherry color in the one well.
Hi, Phil Swift here. This storm season, you need the entire Flex Seal family.
Now this isn't really going to darken this lip color on this doll all too much, but it will.
Deep into wet surfaces to help prevent flood damage. Severe storms can be a nightmare. Now you can pack huge holes to seal up roof leaks. Get the Flex Seal family of products at these fine retailers.
I think we need a little more darker color in there too.
The farmers, we know how nice it is to save on your auto policy, but it's even nicer knowing that if this happens, or this, or even this,
And again, I know this is so exciting seeing me trying to mix paint.